I'm gonna light up my lips. Set them aglow with Yardley's pot of gloss. It's wetter. Shinier.
People in Danville are concerned more businesses and jobs could be leaving town. The Village Mall is set to be auctioned off next month. WCI3's Will Simmons is here. So what do city leaders have to say about the sale, Will?
Jennifer, I talked to Mayor Ricky Williams today. He says he's frustrated with the situation and doesn't know why the owners of the decades-old mall are selling. He also says communications with them have been difficult. Now people are left wondering what the future will hold.
I love participating and shopping at my mall, and so for them to be taking it away or selling it is really an upsetting situation right now.
The Village Mall has been a community staple in Danville since the 70s, but its future is uncertain. The owners, AZT Corporation, will be auctioning off the retail space starting May 13th. PJ Bourne was shopping here with her daughter. She says it seems like businesses are heading in the wrong direction.
It sounds like we're digressing instead of regressing, and I believe as a people and citizen of Danville, we need more stores. So anytime things seem to be in jeopardy, it's an issue for all of us.
The auction will sell off the mall in sections. The part where shops are currently leasing has an opening bid of $1.75 million. The empty spaces will start at $1. Carla Schaefer has lived in Danville since the mall was built and has seen it go through phases.
I don't know if you've driven around and noticed that a lot of empty buildings around here. And I hate to see that for the future of the kids and people's grandkids and everybody else growing up. It's going to make a huge difference if we don't get something done in here.
I talked with Mayor Ricky Williams off camera about the sale. He says with bids starting so low, there's no telling who will buy the empty spaces. He says the city also has no control over what the private seller does. So the only thing people can do is try and be optimistic.
Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed that this community can rebuild itself. This is a good area. We can keep it a good area if we continue to make it a good area.
Pray that the mall will stay, or pray that we'll get a better mall. And then also pray for the people that lost their jobs at Quaker, and pray for the people here that life and jobs also might be in jeopardy.
Mayor Williams says they offered a $100,000 market study to explore possible options for the mall, but the owners were not interested. I did reach out to the company, but haven't gotten a response. Back to you.
All right, well, thank you.
Welcome back once again to the Urbex Dead Mall series. This is going to be the first video from my road trip where I went all across Illinois to document all the remaining malls. And this does not include the Chicago area because I've already previously documented pretty much all of those. So welcome to our first stop, the Village Mall here in Danville, Illinois. So Danville, Illinois sits along the I-74 corridor just shortly after crossing over the Indiana line into Illinois. So if you're traveling west on I-74, it's the first city that you'll come to in Illinois. Danville, Illinois currently has a population of roughly 30,000 people and is very economically depressed. When I drove through the area, it kind of made me feel like I was in Flint, Michigan. Tons and tons of rundown places and abandoned structures. But you're not here for that, so let's get into the mall history. This video won't be very long because I wasn't able to access the entire mall. They have several sections of it just blocked off. The Village Mall was established in 1971 during a period when enclosed shopping malls were gaining popularity across the United States. At this time, the city of Danville was experiencing economic growth, and there was a high demand for a shopping complex that could serve the area and its growing population. The very first store to open in the mall would be an Airway discount store in 1972, which would later become a Target. It would soon be followed by a national supermarket and a Mace department store. I think I'm saying that right. It's spelled M-E-I-S, so I guess it could be Maze, I don't know. not to be confused with the May Company. That store would later become an Elder Beerman. The mall as a whole, and as we know it today, would be opened officially in 1975. 1985 would see the addition of a J.C. Penney's, and the Sears, which was previously located in downtown Danville, would be offered an incentive by the city to move to the mall in the early 1990s. You see, the goal of the city was to consolidate all of the shopping into one huge district. By the late 90s, the economy of Danville was beginning to change and growth was slowing, and this would be where we would see our first casualty, as in 1997, due to low sales, the Target would close, and in 1999 become a Hobby Lobby. 2001 would see the closure of the J.C. Penney. Then, in 2004, a wing of the mall would be renovated to make room for a Goodies clothing store, and the former J.C. Penney would become a Steve & Barry's in 2006, only for that to close in 2008 or 2009 when the company folded and, had their bankruptcy. At the same time, the Goodies and Hobby Lobby would close their store as well. With all these closures happening, there were a lot of rumors amongst people within the community that this mall might permanently close or be converted into something else. But despite all the closures, a Pet Supplies Plus would open up in part of the former Hobby Lobby store, and a Dunham Sports would then come to fill the rest of the former Hobby Lobby space a year or two later. Right around 2012 to 2013, the former Goodies space would become a Ross Dress for Less, and Burlington Coat Factory would open up in the former JCPenney/Steve & Barry's space. With the addition of these new stores, occupancy rates wouldn't be too bad, hovering right at around 78%. That is until September of 2014, when Sears would announce that it would close its Village Mall store. In 2015, the mall would see the addition of a Jo-Ann Fabrics. 2018 would see yet another major retailer leaving the mall. This time, it would be the Elder Beerman, as the parent company, Bon-Ton, would file for bankruptcy and close all of their stores. This mall used to feature a theater. It was last an AMC, and it would close on December 11th of 2022. So after going over the history of this mall, it just seems that once 1997 hit and we began to see stores leaving, it was just sort of like this mall just grabbing out and trying to get the next latest thing that would save the mall and reinvigorate it, and it just was never able to do that because a lot of the tenants that they were attracting were kind of, lower quality tenants like Goodies, and they were never stores that were super successful. A lot of them just, the writing was on the wall. They were going to come into this mall, and then at some point the whole, company would fold, and then, the mall would lose the tenant. Goodies, Steve & Barry's, those are just some of the examples. So right now we're in the main area. This is where the food court is, and I think the movie theater used to be right located next to the food court as well, but it was kind of hard to tell. I do, however, love these planters with the trees in it and the benches around them. That is very nice, and there's a lot of really great natural light spilling into this area, just making it, nice and inviting. Oh boy, a lone Bath & Body Works off in the distance. Truly a sign of a dead and dying mall. So this area that we're heading over to with the checker pattern on the floor, that's where the food court once used to be. And you can see what looks like theater marquees over on the wall, so that's what led me to believe that the theater was over there somewhere as well. So their food court never was really huge, but then again, we're in a small town, and I think they're lucky just to have had a food court, because I've even been in some malls in major metro areas that never had a food court and still don't, and I'm just like, why? That's a pretty big draw. You can come to the mall, shop for a little bit, and eat some food, at least grab food. So as we're walking through the corridors, you'll see that unfortunately they have sections of the mall walled off, so we can't actually explore the entire place, which is really sad. I always hate it when malls do this, especially when there's really no reason. So heading back into the food court, we'll get to take a closer look at some of its features and design, and I just love the way that it looks. It's nice and inviting. I don't know, it's just got these columns where I could imagine maybe there were stools surrounding the columns, because it looks like those are tables. And that's pretty clever. I like that. And, here's where the AMC theater marquee used to be, so that leads me to believe the theater, there was probably an entrance for it, right off the food court. But let me know if you had experience with the Village Mall here in Danville, and if you ever ate in the food court before it closed up permanently, or maybe you went to the AMC movie theater. Since this mall is so far gone from what it used to be, I'll try and see if I can find some old footage or maybe photos of what the mall used to look like, and I'll stick them at the end, so make sure you watch the entire video to see that. So this is really the only corridor that has signs of life left in it. Definitely can tell that this mall is on life support, so if you'd like to visit the Village Mall here in Danville and experience it, you probably should do it sooner than later. I have heard some rumors buzzing around that this mall isn't going to last much longer and will be closing soon, but no official closing date has been, released or announced. I'm going to be starting back up the Raw and Real edition for all of my Dead Mall series videos for my channel members. That way, they can walk through all of these malls and experience the sights and sounds, just as I did. So I found this old footage online, and when I say old, I mean from 2018. I'm going to put a link in the description box below if you want to check out this guy's YouTube channel and see all of the footage of him walking around the mall back in 2018, and I'll put credit up here on the screen. I mainly wanted to use this piece of footage so that we could travel back in time and see the parts of the mall that were blocked off and, kind of get an idea as to what this mall used to be like. Now, I know earlier on when I was over by the food court, I said, this marquee makes me believe that the movie theater was somewhere attached to the food court, but I was completely wrong. It's actually down the wing where the Elder Beerman / Carson's used to be, and that's where we're at now. I'm not quite sure why they had that theater marquee over in the food court, maybe just to attract people, get their attention, like, hey, you're eating at the food court, and then maybe you want to go catch a movie. I don't know, it's kind of odd. One thing I didn't realize is that the mall had a fountain. Well, do you consider this a fountain because it really doesn't have a water, like spraying or falling down or anything? It's more just like a glorified fish pond, but it is kind of cool to see. You don't often find fish in a mall like this. This video also gives us a peek down the corridor where the Sears used to be. It's now a Slumberland Furniture, although when I visited the mall, obviously I couldn't get down that corridor, but I don't recall seeing that furniture store from the outside when I drove around. So here's one last look down the Sears corridor as well as the Elder Beerman Carson's corridor. You can see there's that fish pond again. We'll get a good look at it, as well as a really cool sign that's coming up. So we're going to take a look at this area that almost looks like it used to be a store, and they removed the walls from it. It's really weird. It's this area over here that has like all the blue and silver tinsel stuff like up on the ceiling, and look at this sign. We're going to get a better look at it in a moment here, but the Village Mall sign, is that not amazing? I would love to have that. I wonder what's going to become of that. I'm sure it'll just get torn down and discarded, but this is, the movie theater, so if you're wondering, the movie theater is located down the Elder Beerman Carson's wing, but that's going to do it here for this look back in time to see the blocked off wings. For now, unfortunately, that's going to do it here from the Village Mall in Danville, Illinois. There wasn't a whole lot to see since, half the mall is essentially walled off. So if you like this kind of content, you can subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, or even better, become a channel member and support the future of video, or join my Patreon. There's links in the description box below and on screen. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to my members. You make these videos possible. I will see you on another episode.